A cautionary tale. Jim. Warning, contains a dangerous beast and a miserable end. Hilaire Belloc and Minnie Gray. It clearly says that children should be seen and not heard. All good things must come to an end. And early to bed and early to rise makes a boy healthy, wealthy, and quieter than usual. Jim, who ran away from his nurse and was eaten by a lion. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There was a boy whose name was Jim. His friends were very good to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam and slices of delicious ham and chocolate with pink inside. And little tricycles to ride, and read him stories through and through, and even took him to the zoo. So a spoiled boy that had everything. It says that zoo, but there it was. The dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. And it says, to the lions. And we have zoo rules and bylaw. Everything that you should obey inside the zoo. You know, and that's the toxic skinned salamander. And here we have a snapping turtle. You know, at least you ought to know. And here we have whip-tongued chameleon. There's the boy in the zoo, fascinated by all these animals. And here we have radiated tortoise and a banded crate deadly bite. So going back, you know, at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children never are allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. It's by order of the management. So do not run away from the person that is looking after you. Now this was Jim's especial foible. He ran away when he was able. There's his nurse, distracted by a young man, smiling from ear to ear, and Jim has run away. And on this inauspicious day, he slipped his hand and ran away. As you can see, we've got the polar bears. I forgot the name. And it says, do not stick your fingers through the rails. Do not feed. Danger. Penguins. No diving. He hadn't gone a yard when, bang! With open jaws a lion sprang, and hungrily began to eat the boy, beginning at his feet. Ooh. So he got into the lion cage. Now, just imagine how it feels when first your toes, and then your heels, and then by gradual decrease your shins and ankles, calves and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. So there we have a very unhappy boy. And it says here, no wonder that he shouted, "Hi!" Hi! The honest keeper heard his cry, though very fat, he almost ran to help the little gentleman. Ponto, he ordered as he came, for Ponto was the lion's name. Ponto, he cried with angry frown, let go, sir, down, sir, put it down. The lion made a sudden stop. He let the dainty morsel drop, and slunk reluctant to his cage, snarling with disappointing rage. But when he bent over Jim, the honest keeper's eyes were dim. The lion having reached his head, the miserable boy was dead. There you see the grieving parents. When nurse informed his parents, they were more concerned than I can say. His mother, as she dried her eyes, said, well, it gives me no surprise. He would not do as he was told. And there's the cremation ashes. Remains of Jim. And they're dusting. His father, who was self-controlled, bade all the children round attend to James's miserable end. and always keep a hold of nurse. For fear of finding something worse. The lion. So thank you for listening, and here we can clearly see something being torn out of here. There's the leopard. Children should be eaten and not heard. Clearly that's what the leopard believes. See, the claws have torn into the paper, the wallpaper, and the lion, he dwells in the waist. He has a big head and a very small waist. Indeed, he has a very big head with mane. But his shoulders are stark, and his jaws are grim, and a good little child will not play with him. Keep away from lions and animals with big teeth. And that is almost the end, apart from more advice on the back. No use crying over spilt milk. It's your own time you're wasting. If you can't be good, be careful. What's done cannot be undone. Poor Jim. Thank you for listening.